I guarantee you that you must have spent hours on websites such as chess.com and Lichess trying to bring your elo up and win some games. However, you always lose. You keep on losing, losing, losing. And you have no idea why. But in this video, we're gonna be showing you the top 4 biggest mistakes that chess players make today and how to avoid them. So let's get started. The first mistake that chess players make is called hanging pieces. A hanging piece is when a piece has no defenders or not enough defenders to the point where the attackers are more than the number of defenders. So in this example, this knight is completely unguarded. There are no bishops, no pawns, no nothing protecting the knight. And if black's not careful, we can capture it. Like in this instance, white can just come up and capture the knight for free. There was no cost, it was not defended, and our queen is safe. White is just up 3 points of material and is more likely to win the game. That's what hanging pieces are, and they're really common, especially amongst new players. Oftentimes, a piece is hanging because of carelessness, because you don't see the entire board, and you don't realize that it's undefended, so you just go about your normal day, or normal chess game. The second mistake that chess players often make is not realizing your opponent's plan. Many people get so wrapped up in their own plans of winning the game, they don't realize what their opponent is plotting, thus resulting in them oftentimes losing the game. Like in this scenario, defending the knight once. Now black has a very clever trick up his sleeve. He plays the move queen to h4. White responds in an instant, taking the queen. However, this was all part of black's plan. The queen on the e4 square, if we go back, was defending the b1 square, protecting the square from the rook on b8, making sure it can't come down and checkmate white. However, white saw and only saw the fact that the queen and the knight, that the queen and the bishop were aiming at the h2 square. And white thought that the queen was a free queen, 9 points of material, a guaranteed win. Why not? But what he didn't realize is that was a decoy to divert the white queen from defending the b1 square. And so black comes down and checkmates white, down 10 points, almost 10 points of material, and checkmated in an absolutely spectacular way. This is why it's so important to see what your opponent is planning, as it may very well save the game. Now, this next position is compromising on king safety. One major thing that most players, even at the highest level, sometimes make is that they compromise on king safety, meaning they don't realize how important the defenders are of their king. And they oftentimes lead those pieces to battle, leaving the white king or the black king completely undefended and unguarded, which makes it a target for black or the other team. In this scenario, white plays the move pawn to f3, trying to invade on black's space, and potentially get a passed pawn. But this very much weakens the white king. This diagonal is super weak, and any black piece can attack the king right now. And in this scenario, black's queen can come to the square c5 and fork the white king and the white knight. It doesn't matter where white moves, because then we win the knight on the next move and eventually win the game, since we are up so many points of material. There is no way that white can win, being down a full piece and a pawn. So this is why you have to be really careful when it comes to king safety, as if your opponent manages to trap your king, you lose the game. So it's really important. And the final and most common mistake that people make, and especially beginners make, is playing random moves. When you are new to chess, players make random moves that don't improve their own position or improve their pieces by developing them and or leading attack. Random moves is oftentimes one of the big reasons your chess elo or evaluation isn't increasing. For example, in this position, watch how white plays. We start off a normal game, going into opening space, and white starts to move his knights. He moves a pawn, okay, not too bad. Black develops then his knights. But white moves his knight again for the second time in the opening. Black develops his pieces, and white moves the knight again. Black moves the bishop back, okay, not too bad, preventing the pawn from coming forward and attacking the bishop, which means it has to move. And white moves the queen. Now, moving this knight 3 times and moving the queen was completely unnecessary. What white should have done is moved its bishops, developed its knights, well, obviously not to this square, developed his knights, developed his bishops, and castled early, being ready to attack later on. But what does he do instead? After black moves, he does develop his knight, but then moves his pawns randomly. This does nothing to improve white's structure or create an attack. Now, white's queen is being threatened, white has to move, and now white's queen gets trapped. Because white moved these pieces randomly, it has led to this position. White's queen is trapped and there is no way for it to get out. It can't go here because of the pawn, it can't take because of the rook, it can't go here because of the bishop, same with this square, and it can't take the bishop because of the knight. Now the best way to utilize the material and get the most material back is to just take the bishop. But even then, you are still down 6 points of a material, which is the same as a pawn and a rook. And a pawn and a rook can have a significant impact. In fact, these 2 pieces alone could literally win you the game. This is why you shouldn't be making random moves. Oftentimes when players are new to chess, they don't really think about plans and just have fun. And that is important, but you need to have, when you're playing competitively, a strong plan that can be utilized, as well as developed pieces, and not just moving your pieces around randomly. So now that you've learned about the most common mistakes made by chess players, it's time you finally stop making these in your chess games. This will result in your elo significantly improving. And I hope you apply these in your later games. Bye!